everyone, this is ScrapComputer here. This video is going to cover how to maximize yourself as a player by choosing lanes and roles that don't contradict themselves, ensuring you're always playing a playstyle or general champion or champions that you're comfortable with. This furthermore makes damn certain that you're not playing two different playstyles which could affect each other and your actual gameplay. First up, I'll cover what a role contradiction is. For this, I'll be using a player as an example. I have a player on my stream who we all call Swedish. He's a very, very good Fiora player. He excels at bruisers and duelists. Like, most of the time, I've very, very rarely seen a poor game from him on those champions. He likes those all 3v1 smash up champions. If he gets ahead, he likes to get in the middle of things and go a little ham, and generally this works in bruisers. So to do this, he plays top lane, where if he doesn't get top though, goes AD carry. Now there is a problem where this lies. Fiora and let's say Olaf have completely different playstyles than let's say Tristana. As an AD carry, your job is to remain safe. That is your primary objective. After that, it's to do damage and then kite and then run. To do DPS over the long run. This is quite literally the opposite of a bruiser who's about getting as deep as it possibly can while remaining doing damage, which isn't the same thing. On my stream, Swedish mentioned if this was okay and if it was even a good idea, and mentioned that his secondary role was AD carry. In general, Swedish is a good player. I've seen his Tristana, some games he'll get 20 kills up. If ahead, he plays like a bruiser on that champion. He jumps in and blows people up. If he can get ahead, he nearly always does well. The problem is, once late game hits, he's jumping in and dying quite a bit. He's still playing that same playstyle. This has cost us countless games. He would flash into the enemy team for an execute. He's playing like a bruiser on an AD carry. The two roles just don't fit. Secondly, if he falls behind, he still plays this aggressively in Tristana, except now he can't get away with it. He can't get resets. I've only won one game where he has fallen behind in Tristana, and just because we carried him. And the rest we lost because of his inability to come back just to having too much aggression. On a bruiser, he can get away with this stuff. On an AD carry, not so much. This is a situation a lot of players find themselves in. They're playing two roles that simply don't match. And when you're playing that aggressive bruiser style and trying to play a kite play style, either you'll try and change your mental prowess to basically go for, I'm going to try and play like an AD carry, in which you're practicing a play style you do not like or is contradicting. What I'm saying here is do not play contradicting play styles. Don't play a really safe champion and then play a really aggressive champion. No, I'm not saying it's not possible. What I am saying is it limits you as a player in experiencing your favorite role, your favorite champions, and extending out on that individual particular knowledge. Even professionals have certain champions they love to play, certain aspects of champions. Some people like bruisers, some people like assassins, some people like mages, some people like AD carry, some people like safe AD carries, some people like aggressive AD carries. Everyone's got their playstyle, and you've got to play to that playstyle. Even the professionals are doing it, so why not you? Just ensure you're not playing tank junglers that you're doing well on, and then as a secondary role playing brand mid or something. Don't play tank engage playstyle with a squishy mid as your secondary, it's just silly. Some games you can still do well, but for the most part it's just a disadvantage. How to avoid contradictions. Now this is where logic comes in and role recognition. I'll cover each champion type and where to play the champion if you get a primary or secondary attachments. Basically, where you can play similar champions you play without forcing yourself into a champion that has to go something that's against your playstyle. So I'm going to go for the role and where the role is found on the map most commonly. Bruiser. Bruisers reside in the top and jungle. So generally speaking, all the bruisers, all the big tanky duelists, for the most part, they're top lane oriented. That's where you should maximize yourself. The only secondary is the jungle. Jungle, of course, is pretty decent for bruisers. You can get a lot of good clears. Their ganks aren't the best in the world, but it still allows you to play that playstyle, which is all what it's about. Supports. The only real role support can play beyond itself is really jungle. Jungle is another supportive role. Basically what I'm saying here is if you play a tank based jungler, they generally go around with a tracker's knife and they go around with pink wards and they just try and control the map with vision, their utility, and basically rely on others to carry. Since support is mostly a role that relies on others, this naturally should fit you in terms of playstyle. You don't have to be that aggressive and you can just play something that's very tanky and generally useful like the support role is. Tanks. Tanks can be played in the top, jungle, or support. Top lane tanks are still pretty common right now. They're pretty effective. Most common is actually in the jungle. Jungle tanks are probably the better tanks in the game, but of course you can play it elsewhere. And finally support. Now, little asterisks beside that support mark there. Supports of course can be played as tanks, but they're not true tanks because it takes a long time given their less experience in gold. So just remember that, guys. All these roles are perfect to play in tank though, if you want that play style. Assassins, mid and jungle. The only place that assassins really can reside is in the mid and jungle. I would say that mid lane's a little bit more effective with the constant stream of gold and experience, but jungle is a nice secondary if you want to pick it up. Mage, mid and support. Now you can go top lane with mages, but the vast majority of them are just not allowed up there. There's only very particular tank mages. Now I just wanted to mention that top is a possibility, but it's unlikely for most mages. Just try to stick to mid and support where both can be played. AD carry, bot and mid. Now this one's a little bit surprising and it was kind of difficult to fill in. The reason why I mention this is because AD carries are generally players that want to use abilities, damage while kiting back. The only role this is similar to is mid lane in my opinion. You don't have that blow up potential, of course, not as much, but you still have that ability to, right, I've got to kite, I've got to run back, I've got to do damage, I've got to remain safe, and bot and mid both do this. So the only roles that kind of combine here. The AD carry and support can also be a nice synergy, but if you want that carry potential, bot and mid is your best choice. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope it's helpful. I just wanted to cover these roles to make sure people are playing in the right ones. I actually know quite a few players that play incorrect roles, incorrect places, and you can actively see it really contradicting their playstyle, and you can actively see this making them worse as a player. And it's all about being comfortable playing the champions you like in the right places. I know for you guys, some of you might be, let's say for example, really good mage players. You want to be able to play in another role that really facilitates that. You want to play in a role which you always feel comfortable. For example, if you main, let's say Veigar, and you play him in the mid, playing a support that is similar to Veigar with the same mage kiting tendencies is a really good thing. If you play, let's say, assassins, let's say you love assassins, you're great at Zed mid, playing Kha'Zix jungle is really similar in terms of that. So yeah, that's what you want to go for. And that's it for the video, guys. If you like it, dislike it, dislike it. If you like the content, you subscribe. And think it's horrible, total trashing, and sub totally fair. Beyond that, guys, have a great day. Best of luck on the Rift. And I'll see you guys next time. Thank you very much for watching.